Hello. A lot of people talk about eating plant-based proteins or plant-based main courses, and they talk about it, but they're really not sure about doing it, and they're afraid they're going to miss something out if they don't have meat all the time. Well, we're going to do 3 different ways to use some plant-based proteins to get that main course feeling. It's so important. You know, you want to feel full, you want to feel like you ate something, and textures that are like satisfying to you. That's one of the challenges of plant-based entrees and plant-based main courses. We're going to do 3 in this session. We're going to have like a tofu, and we're going to do it Asian style. We're going to do a tempeh and kind of roast it with some like a southwestern Latino flavors. And then we're also going to do, more on the Latino side, is some masa. And some masa is a base, and between that's going to be some mashed beans and cheese. All those things together, the beans, the cheese, and the masa, kind of make up almost a complete protein profile that we need for our bodies to grow and build muscle and all that stuff. So there's ways to get the protein and the flavors and textures without having to say, we got to eat meat every day. So it's really good to mix things up, have some fun, and I'm here to like help you learn how to do these things. I'm going to do this more than once. I was a chef at a vegetarian restaurant years ago, back in the early 2000s, and I really enjoyed it. I love cooking things and making flavors come together and still getting that protein that you need, that's so important. So we're going to dive into this and check out these 3 recipes, have some fun with them. Really simple. I'm trying to get it down to like 6 ingredients for each one. We're keeping our garlic cloves whole. Use a little paring knife. I cut either end off my garlic, make a little incision down, right, to get that peeling off. It depends on how dry or fresh your garlic is. Sometimes it's easier than other times, but we want to get it just whole. And then we are going to do, either with a paring knife, really nice, super thin slices, just like that, okay, super thin. I go down like that and I slice the rest. Or you can take a big knife, do it this way, slice down. Okay, either or works. So we get our nice thin slices of garlic, at least 2 to 3 cloves, just like that. An inch of ginger, and we're going to scrape all the skin off, like I showed you before. Once we get all that skin off, then we are going to slice it. You could chop it up. We'll do just a little chopping. We have sliced garlic. Let's chop up our ginger. We're going to do like a semi-rough chop. There's our skins off. First thing you're going to do is slice down and get your garlic sliced thin that way. Then you're going to go down, back and forth, and start going back and forth to get a nice chop on our ginger, just like that. There you go. A rough chop of garlic, just about to there, right? And we're good, and we're going to put that aside, using the back of our knife to scrape that, put that nice chopped ginger off to the side. There we go. And then get set up to the next one. Onions, and we're going to cut the root end. We washed them off. We use all the green and white. We washed them off. If there's some brown parts, just pull them off. It's a little wilty, like leaves like that. Pull those off. Doesn't have to be crazy on it. So what's going to happen is we'll bunch 2 or 3 at a time, and we're going to do a bias cut. We're going to line them up, go at an angle, just like that. They don't have to be super thin. You know, about 1/8 of an inch. You're good, just like that, to get our scallions on the bias all the way through when you're cutting. Chop those up. Our tofu pack. If you haven't worked with tofu much, open that pack up, drain your liquid. There you go. You know, there's some tofu recipes where they say to really press it. You don't really need to do that unless a recipe really asks for you to press it down and get all the extra moisture out. It's naturally spongy. Tofu is great because it absorbs whatever flavor you're going to be cooking something with. So I'm cutting these into about 3/4 of an inch planks. Then what's going to happen is you're going to cut them into strips once, twice on our strips, and you're going to get rectangles. I mean, you're going to get squares. Squares like that, which are about 3/4 of an inch by an inch in size. Put those aside. Nice squares of tofu sitting out, ready to go. We have our hoisin open up, ready to go. We have our veg stock, ginger, garlic slice, ginger chopped garlic slice, and we're gonna get ready here. Get a nice medium to a large size saute pan we're gonna use. We have a nice wide skillet or a saute pan. I've got my straight side one here. I like these pans called a sautoir in French, but any large wide saute pan is gonna work. We're gonna drizzle 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil, veg oil in the pan. Okay, I'm using, or you can even use avocado oil, vegetable oil. Don't use extra virgin for this. So any kind of what we call a clear oil or neutral oil is what we're looking for. And we're going to spread that all around. We're going to turn our heat on high. I got my heat up to high. I can see the oil's moving around a bit and rippling. Now I'm going to slow it down a bit to a medium heat before I get ready to put my ginger and garlic in there. I just wanted to speed up the heat a little bit. You can just start on medium heat if you want, as long as it's not smoking and burning. Because we're going to put our ginger and garlic in first to get our starting before we add our tofu. Okay, so we got a medium heat. We don't want to burn our ginger and garlic. Just for like a minute or two, we're going to cook down the garlic and the ginger. And if it's getting too hot, if it's getting too brown too fast, turn off your heat and slow it down. We want a nice, steady, light frying of our ginger and our garlic without it burning. And we have a good amount of oil on the bottom here. Like I said, 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. And that's going around there. And I'm just starting to get color on there for now. It starts the sizzling time. Your tofu. Make sure you drain your tofu well before you're going to put it in here because it's going to be splattering a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. Spread your tofu out. You'll be good. You don't want it on top of each other. If you have a pan that's too small, then get a wider pan. Spreading it all out. Yes, it's going to do a little flashing there. You're going to be okay. All around. There we go. There we go. I think I'm going to get that all in here. The whole 14 ounces of tofu is going to go all in. There we go. And there. This is going to stay on for a couple of minutes. We're not going to move this around a lot because we don't want to break up our tofu. Basically, we have a base part on the bottom. And tofu is not sticking too much. We don't want it to stick. So that's a good sign. With extra firm and firm tofu, there's a less chance of it sticking. But we're going to turn them over like once before we add everything else in there. Shake, shake, shake. If I have some shaking and it's moving, that's a good sign. That means it's not sticking in the bottom, but we still have our heat, medium heat going. Now it's time for a little bit of shoveling, and it's moving around. You're just going to do underneath and over. Underneath and over. Don't smash them or break them up. Underneath and over, just like that. Keep your heat constant on the medium. Underneath and over. You don't want it sticking. That's not a good sign. We want to move it around. We want all that nice oil and garlic and ginger coating our tofu. Nice and easy, just like that. Keep that heat steady. And then we're going to be ready for our next stuff. You're not going to get a lot of color on the tofu. What we're doing right now is trying to get all that oil from the ginger and garlic infused into the tofu, which is going to help give it more flavor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to do 3 good-sized tablespoons of hoisin. At least 3. Then we're going to add our stock. The stock can be 2 to 3 cups. We have to go almost to covering. And you're going to shake out the tofu. So it's going about there. It's almost covering everything, and you're going to stir that all around because you want the hoisin to mix in with your stock. Okay, so it's almost covering it. What we're going to do now is going on a medium heat. We want to get some simmering going because it's going to take probably about 40 minutes for all this liquid to cook down. So as soon as we get that to a simmer, we got some bubbles going. You don't want a rolling boil, but you want like a nice steady simmer, and then you're going to cover it. And we're going to check this in about 20 minutes. Alright, so I checked it in 20 minutes, and then I let it go down for a total of 30 minutes, half an hour, and you're going to have juice. It's not going to all reduce down. It tastes really good. What's really important is that your tofu has absorbed all this lovely sauce. You're going to leave this liquid in there and store it. So when you reheat it, you can add this to put this on top of rice or just have it in a bowl by itself. Basically, it's done. So you're gonna have juice in the bottom, and that juice is so flavorful. It's got the hoisin, the veg stock in there, the gingers and the garlic. Has a little sweetness, has a little umami there too as well, and your tofu is nice and soft. And when you store this tofu overnight and reheat it, it's gonna absorb even more of that lovely flavor, and that's the beauty of tofu. It really can absorb all these lovely flavors. So we're good. We're gonna shut this off, and we're gonna add a little bit of scallions for garnish. Tasting that again, it's good. The sky's the limit of what you can put this tofu on top of. Make sure you have all that nice juice, which is the hoisin, the chicken stock, a little bit of fat, and of course your scallions. And you can see the tofu has really gotten spongy and absorbed the nice juices that it was simmering in. And so it's up to you, whatever you want to put on with it. You can also put sesame seeds or peanuts on top of there. Cashews is really good too as well. Little hot chilies to add some heat to it if you want. Endless, but great flavor. And it's going to be better the next day when it sits and refrigerates and absorbs even more of that lovely flavor. For this dish with tempeh, tempeh pretty much comes in one firm version of it, either flavored or unflavored. This is basically an unflavored version, and it is 8 ounces. Okay, you can double this recipe. This is enough for like 2 to 4 people, this portion. That's about it. And we're only use a half an onion, like a Spanish or a Vidalia, sweet onion, some chili powder, some cumin, also some Worcestershire sauce. We also got some oil. I'm using like an avocado oil. You can use a canola oil. I guess you could use actually olive oil if you wanted, so that's another option. But that's the basic thing. What's going to happen here is we're going to chop up this stuff, and we're going to put it in a bowl, and we're going to let it marinate for about half an hour to an hour, and then we're going to roast it in the oven. We have our tempeh out of the package. There we go. I like to cut it. It's so firm, that's why I love tempeh. Down the middle, and then I'm going to do slices. About like a little less than half an inch on my slices. It sometimes breaks up a little bit, but you're going to be good. Like I said, you can double up this recipe. This is enough for like 2 to 4 people, just for a main course like entree item or plant-based protein item. I'm going to put that in the bowl, just like that. Okay, we're going to get rather our onion sliced up next. And I peeled it, just need half an onion. This is a pretty big size onion, but you could use a whole small one. The lines are on the onion are running this way, right? I'm going to go down parallel to the lines, and I'm going to turn it, okay? And then I'm going to get like quarter moons. Slice it really thin as you can, like 1/8 of an inch if you can get it that thin, even better. Just nice and thin, all down. Just keep going, going. Now we get here, keep your fingers curled. You know about that. Then you're going to go down once, twice, 3, and 4. Turn it down. And then here, of course, we got about 3. If you can't do it this way, you can always set your tip down into the onion. Go straight through, down, straight through, down. See, I'm setting my tip down here. That sets me into the onion. And then I put my finger out of the way, and I go straight down. So there is my slices of my half onion. That's going to go in there as well. Okay. We're doing light tossing right now of our tofu and our onions, just like that. There we go. We have our our oven, not our onion. After this sits for at least a half an hour to an hour of marinating, you need to preheat your oven to like at least like 400 degrees. And then just have that ready to go because it's going to be hot because we're going to spread this out and roast it is what's going to happen. So there's our tempeh. Now we're going to get our other ingredients to add to that. Bowl, we're going to put our mixture, our marinated mixture in. We have our chili powder. We got 1, and this is a mild chili powder. You don't want a really super strong chili powder unless you like that much heat. There's 2 tablespoons of chili powder. We have half a tablespoon of cumin. Half tablespoon of cumin. Ground cumin, that is. Then we have 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Or they call it what's this here sauce. Here's the 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And we got about 3 tablespoons of oil. That could be avocado oil, canola oil, light olive oil. I wouldn't use extra virgin on this. Okay. And 3, there we go, out of tablespoons of our oil. We're going to mix this all together. Excuse me there. Mix this all in a nice little paste mixture, oil mixture there, nice and smooth. Get all that mixed up. There you go. So then it's going to be time to add this to our tempeh. So this is going to be in, and we're going to pour that all around our tempeh. You're going to need a spatula or a spoon to get this all stirred around. It's all going in there. There we go. We're going to go under and over. Just kind of fold this around. Not breaking up our tempeh. Just do a little folding motion. All that together. Under and over. It's kind of like a roll motion that you're going to do. Under and over there. Just like that. And once it gets nice and mixed there, pretty good, we are getting ready to let this marinate. I said like a minimum of half an hour, let it marinate. You can go up to an hour. All those flavors to meld in there. And you're going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We're going to get like a sheet tray that we're going to spread this out in too as well. So this is marinated for an hour. And I'm using like a non-stick pad. You can use parchment paper, aluminum foil, make sure there's some oil on it. But I'm going to spread the tempeh out. It's kind of hard to see because it's brown. This is one of those sill pads. I like using a sill pad a lot of times, even for savory stuff, to spread stuff out and roast. So, and it's easy, and I don't have to worry about it sticking. But you can also use parchment. So just put it on, don't just put it on a cookie tray or a sheet tray without any oil on the bottom or on foil. You can actually oil the bottom of a pan before you put this on, because this is going to roast. Roasting is dry heat cooking. We spread stuff out. Our oven is preheated. We're going to hit this with some salt and pepper, just a little bit, because we've got our spice. Our spice is all set, but now we need some salt and we need some pepper. Pepper's going to get a little bit of heat. If you want super heat, you got to add cayenne pepper to that chili powder, the rub mixture marinade to that. I'm a lightweight, so I'm just doing salt and pepper, but that's up to you if you want to add some heat. Now we're going to put this in the oven, and we're going to give it like 20 minutes, and then we're going to check it. I'm going to put this baby in the oven and check it in 20 minutes. You can use a convection oven or a regular oven, either or. This has been about 20 minutes, and we have some nice color on there. It's really nice and charred up, a little caramelizing. A couple of the onions got a little dark, but that's kind of what you're looking for with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a half a cup of water to that. It's kind of like gives a little moisture, a half cup of water, and we're going to shake that up. Okay, this gives it a little bit of juice, and it pulls up some of that flavor from the bottom of the pan, and we're all set. Taste it a piece. I want to put a little bit more salt on there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this into a container. So we'll have this, and I think I'm going to have mine with a little bit of rice on the side. So we got that juice, we got the charred onions, the charred tempeh. That's what we're going for, the texture. It's like nice and like a roasted from that dry heat. You can do this with air frying too as well. But we got to make sure you add that water to it. It breaks out that extra moisture on there, and that's going to add to the whole mixture. So there we go. We got it in a vessel, and we're all set. It's ready to eat just like that, or we can put this on top of rice or on the side of other vegetables or anything else you might have. I have in another container. I mix all my moisture around from the water, a little rice. You can eat this straight with some vegetables. Or, like I said, put on a little bit of rice. That way, when you have some juice. There's not a lot of color on here, but it gives you that kind of that earthy umami flavor from the caramelization and from the roasting there. And, of course, some juice on the top. Got to get some of that juice. Some people like to sweeten this up with a little bit of ketchup, too, as well. But I think it's fine just like that. On top of rice. I would have a vegetable with this, but you get the idea. What's great about tempeh is it's the meatiness, it gets the firmness. Even if you cook it a long time, it's going to be a little crunch to it. So that's one way I really like tempeh, and it absorbs whatever flavors you want to give you like a meat replacement or something that's hearty. All right. In this masa and beans, which is basically a layer of masa. We're gonna have some mashed beans in the middle with cheese and a little masa on top. Gonna bake it some and put some salsa on it. It's a great, like, another plant-based main course item you can use. I have a cookie pan or a sheet tray, or you could also use a casserole dish. But I'm putting a little bit of oil on the bottom, avocado oil, vegetable oil, whatever you have, olive oil, just to coat the bottom. I probably might not use the whole cookie tray, but this is one option you can use. You can also use a casserole dish, but it has to be oven proof. All right, so our oven is preheated to 350. Okay, just like that. So there we go. Next, we're gonna talk about our ingredients. We have cumin, chili powder. I've got a 15-ounce can of pinto beans. I'm gonna drain them. A cup of cheese, but I might need more cheese. This is there's a lot of different ones. Get the 4 Mexican cheese mix is great, and I have the masa. The masa, of course, comes used for tortillas, tamales, you name it. It's the masa meal is what you want. Generally, it's gluten-free, and I've got like 2 cups of the masa meal that I'm going to add water to. So those are the main things that I need going forward. And what's going to happen is I'm going to make the masa first, and then we're going to drain the beans and mash those up. So we got our masa. We got some warm water. This is like 2 cups of masa. Depends on the directions on the package. And sometimes you'll see masa used for like to put inside tamales. We'll have some fat. This is just water, basically. You can add a little pinch of salt to it if you want. And I'm adding my water in. Now the amount of water might change. You might need more than you think. So I'm gonna keep putting a little at a time till this makes like a nice, almost like a dough. So we'll keep going like this. It's going to start coming together. Keep adding more water. Add a little at a time and work that water into your masa meal to see where you need to be until it all comes together. Moving around. Add some more water. A little at a time. And make that warm water. It'll incorporate a little bit better. Okay? Mixing all around. Make sure you get underneath when you're mixing it. All around. A little more water. There we go. I'm going to probably add, this is 1 cup to 2 cups of masa. I'm probably going to do another quarter and find that out. Let's try, yeah, another 1/4 cup of water. Mix that around. Okay, so it starts coming together. Soon I'm going to start squeezing it with my hands to get it to be where it needs to be. I've added another 1/4 cup, total of 1.5 cups of water to 2 cups of the masa meal. Now it's starting to get in my hands in there and start mashing it together. Okay, there we go. Roll up sleeves a little bit, and there we go. We got our nice masa meal coming together. There's a lot of different ways you can use masa as a holder of different things. Is in tamale, make them into tortillas, obviously. Fill it with stuff, make tamales, all different ways you can use it. It's a nice different starch to go with beans to help you get more of a complete protein. Also, the corn that they use for a masa is called a nixtamal corn, which means that there is some alkali added to that, and that gives out all the nutrients coming out of the corn kernels, which makes it more of a complete nutritional item for you versus just dried corn. So we're starting to come together right here, and that's what we're looking for. All squeezing. If it's too dry, add some more water to it, but it needs to be coming together like that, and we're good. All right. We're going to do about 2 to 3 pinches of salt in there too, and then work that in. Some salt, like 2 to 3 pinches of salt. You can put that in when you have initially your masa. I forgot, but it just works it in now. Just help bring out that flavor a little bit more by adding a couple of pinches of salt to it. Mix that all around, and it's all coming together. Now, you don't want to get too dry while you're doing your other stuff. We're going to put some plastic wrap on top of this so we want to keep moist moist. Moisture is your friend. You don't want it to dry out too much. We're going to take our 15 ounces of pinto beans. We're going to drain them. So just get those all drained out. You can use black beans too. Want to have those drained. Drain them out really well. And then that extra liquid is going to get dumped away. You can put those beans that are drained back into a bowl. And then you need a potato masher. Some kind of potato masher is going to be needed to smash these up. Now, you could also do this in a food processor to grind them up. But I'm just smashing these up kind of like you're making refried beans. But we're making a different version for us. We're not going to fry these. We're going to bake them inside the masa. So I'm just smashing up my beans right now. Just like that. Mash. Move around. Get them nice and smooth. They don't have to be perfect. Just get, you know, where it's mixed up pretty well. I'll let you know. Keep going like that. Alright, so we've mashed up our beans pretty well. Right? There they are. Now we're going to put some seasoning into our beans. We have some regular chili powder. You can use hot chili powder. This is like a mild chili powder. If you use chipotle chili powder, be careful because it's really hot. This is the mild chili powder. 1 tablespoon there. Also, we're going to do a half a tablespoon of cumin. Ground cumin. So there's half a tablespoon of ground cumin. And you want to put some salt in there. A couple pinches of salt. A couple pinches of pepper. Where you go. And we're going to mix that around. Mix it around really well. Get all your spice mixture in there. I'm doing kind of like a smash back and forth. Look at that. Okay. There we go. You want to get it smooth. And because this is going to be layered in between, right in between the masa. So we got it all smashed up. There we go. So we have our masa mixture. I had it on a plastic wrap, right? We're going to split that in half. Half going to go on the top and half's going to go on the bottom. We're going to bunch that up. Okay. So what we're going to do is press down in our pan. Now it's going to take a little while to press down. Now I'm going to give you the measurement. We're not going to use the whole cookie tray. You can use it in a casserole dish. You can also double up the recipe amount. But I'm going to cover like half of this dish here, of this cookie tray, and press it on out. Press it down to basically where it's going to be a little less than 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. It's like pressing on a pie dough. Keep going. Pressing that down with your hands. You can put a little oil in your hands, makes it a little easier if need to. But you want to try to get it even. You could also use something like this to press down, like a dish or a measuring cup. Use that to press down to all the way to your edges. Don't worry about having an edge. We're not going to the sides. We're just going to get where the bottom is covered and we're good. Keep going with that and pressing that out. It's kind of like Play-Doh. It's like any pie dough. If it sticks to your hands, put a little oil in your hands, or if it's really dry and crumbly, you can take your mixture and add a little water to it and re-knead it so that it's going to be fine to bind up and hold together. So there's our bottom. This is like 3/4 of a cookie tray. I'm going to give you a measurement on that so you know. So this was 8.5 inches by about 9 inches for our bottom measure. So 8.5 inches this way, 9 inches that way. You want to make sure it's just like a little less than 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. And then we start putting in our beans. So you're going to put little blotches of your beans right on top of that masa. That way it's going to be a little easier to spread it. We'll just keep putting little pieces like that all around, and you'll see what's going to happen when it's time to spread it. So now we have our beans. You can use a rubber spatula or a flat spatula to press down. Ooh, this flat spatula actually works pretty good. It's pretty delicate. To mash those beans down, okay? Or you can use a rubber spatula. There you go. Be kind of gentle. We'll get it spread out evenly. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that's going right down there. Sandwich is going to be sandwiched in between both the masas. Just like I said, this is going to be like a casserole. We're going to cut out a square and have that. That's what it's going to be. Spread that out. We don't have to go all the way to the edges, but do the best you can. Spread that there. There we go. Okay, so there is our beans. Okay, next, you're going to sprinkle half your cheese on there. Probably might need more cheese. If you really love cheese, you're going to put a lot more on the top. But there's our cheese. There you go. That's half of it. Done. Next, you're going to take your masa and we're going to press on the top. So there we go, like that. And we're going to get little pieces of our masa because that way it's going to be easier for pressing it down to get on the top of our beans. Just like that. Spread that around. Little pieces, and then we're going to come together. That's the plan. Just like that. Okay. Then you're going to start pressing your masa on the top, having it come together. It's not going to come together perfectly, but you want to try to get it so they're all connecting. Your masa on the top is connecting to the other pieces of masa. Pressing that down. There we go. And get it kind of even when you're pressing it down. Just like that. Get your sides. Okay. And if some of the cheese or you have little holes, it's okay. It's all going to be baked and we're going to put more cheese on it. And we also have a salsa we're going to add to it. Now we put the other half of our cheese on top. Okay. If we want more cheese, you can have it. Everybody loves cheese. A little more in here. Our oven is preheated. We have a 350 degree oven, preheated. This is going to take about 20 minutes to a half an hour in the oven. Okay, so there we go, just like that. You can drizzle a little bit of oil on top of that, a little moisture. There we go, and we're good to go in the oven. Put this in the oven. We're going to check it in about 25 minutes. We're going to check it. Check it out. It's been 25 minutes. And look at our lovely masa. Our cheese is melted. Okay. We're good. If you find that the cheese is not melted, you could go another 5 to 10 minutes. But that's 25 minutes. And we're looking good. Like I said, with my oven, which is 25 minutes, the cheese is all melted. Your masa is pretty much done, is cooked. You can always test it and see. Take a little bit on the side there. If you want your cheese to be browner, you could go like another 10 minutes. Watch it in the oven until it gets nice and dark brown. I'm really happy with my cheese being melted. I tasted the masa. The masa is going to have a little pasty texture to it. It's cooked all the way through, so we're good. It's time to cut it. You can really decide what size your squares are going to be. I'm going to do these by 2 inches by about 4 inches. And I like to cut them into little smaller squares so that you have more than one for your portion. Just like that. Get your sides. Cut your sides. Shouldn't be sticking too much if you have the oil on the bottom. Right? You pick out your pieces. Cut in between. This is great. You can have this a couple days later as like a casserole, and you can have veggies on the side. You've already got your protein with your beans on there, and your carbohydrates from with your masa. So I would suggest that you have it where you have some veggies on the side and you're good. Then we have some salsa. I got a little medium salsa. I'm a lightweight, and I was like, oh, that medium salsa is a little hot. Or hot salsa, whatever you want. You name it. Don't get too chunky a salsa. It's going to be nice to mix in there. So that's really going to add to your heat as well after you have the mildness from your masa and your beans and cheese. All right.